Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be starting a new sort of thing where I talk about the macro perspective of the market. Now, this is basically going to be called the macro perspective just because that is basically what it is. There's no reason to make it flash or anything like that. But we are going to be starting with Hedera, aka HBAR, and we're going to be talking about the value that it could truly drive within this market if things do, of course, follow through with the patterns. Now, with this in mind, we are really kind of addressing, a lot of these tokens and really kind of looking at their dominance over the market, because this is the percentage that they actually hold in terms of the value of the market, which is 0.2% for Hedera. I've always said that in terms of the 60% dominance that Bitcoin and Ethereum hold over this market, that will soon be dispersed between a lot of these tokens. When regulations come into the space, magnitudes of capital will flow. And I've always said that when we really look at the door that does get unlocked, regulations will be the key to really unlock that door. That's going to be happening very soon. And when I do see that, or I should say when we do see that, a lot of these tokens that we talk about on a day-to-day basis are going to be the front runners, and we are going to be seeing a lot of tokens actually disappear out of this market. You got to remember that there's 19,000 cryptos within this market, so not all of them are the best thing. A lot of them are rug pulls, scams, etc. So a lot of those assets are going to disappear or cease to exist within this market. And when we talk about things like that, it really kind of sheds a little bit of a better light on tokens like Hedera that do have a legitimate network that they are truly building out in terms of an ecosystem. And I definitely do see a huge success for tokens like Hedera, like XRP, XLM, ALGO, and things like that. So let's talk about this. Let's address this. So first off, currently HBAR trades at about 19.5 cents almost, up a little bit from our lows earlier today. Now, when we talk about this and really kind of address this, we have to address it in the idea on, hey, where are altcoins currently positioned at in this market, right? Because, currently when we look at, HBAR and we look at other tokens, their value is not really being perceived. There's not a lot of movement going on in the altcoin market, which this is on, of course, the micro view. On the macro view here, and let me actually get rid of a lot of the stuff that is on the chart. I'm actually going to keep the fib levels on the chart just because I want to kind of compare and contrast real quick. But, when we look at the macro perspective here, off of those all-time, highs going back roughly 2 years ago, or not 2 years ago, 4 years ago, wow, we really kind of see that off of those, highs to the current all-time high, it's actually up about 261.27% in less than roughly 4 years, because it was actually about like 3 years, and, a couple months. It was shy just about 4 years. So when we really kind of look at this and we go to the next major bull run, which I'm not saying that we're not in a bull run right now, I'm just saying in general when we look at the next bull run, we don't know if this is actually the topping point for, of course, the total 2. I've always said that we could actually kind of range to some highs during this bull run if we do see a lot more capital flowing in. But if we do repeat that same process, say for so 261%, so here we have 261%. It actually takes us to about roughly 6.17 trillion dollars. This is for the altcoin market cap, by the way. We're not even talking about like the total itself, because off of the total itself, like if we go off of this high to this point here, we kind of see this being a 290% of an increase in price. And again, if we do see that same repetitive process, again, 290 plus percent would take us to a pretty significant point, well beyond, again, $10 trillion, to roughly $11.85 trillion. Now, that is currently off of those highs from 2018 to our current high. Could we go higher this bull run if we do see, again, a major impulse on Bitcoin, which will lead to an alt season? Yes, 100%. But of course, we have to wait and make sure that we do get validated on there being a bull run this year, which in my opinion, we do see it. But of course, we need to address this and, really kind of watch it closely. But when we do look at things happening within this market, if this bull run takes us to about 2023, which a lot of people are saying, around September's our, topping point. If we do, this significant run to about, roughly, I would say, $6 trillion, it is something that could possibly be, a thing, but I would more so look at about $5 trillion being, a topping point for, of course, the altcoin market cap. That is if we do see that major amount of FOMO flowing in. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, look at about like 2.4 to about $3.5 trillion. But then even on the total too, right? So kind of going off of these fib levels, I really kind of addressed the fib levels off of the March of 2020 lows, which is our major low point, and our current high point I'm going off of as well to give you guys that insight. So let me make sure that that is actually on the bottom here. So there we have it. Okay, and when we look at the topping point here, again, I'm going to show you guys my argument here as well for this. But if we look at the total 2 and we kind of say, all right, well, it's between 2.4 to about 3.5. If we look here, it's between about 4.84 to about 7.76. And we're going to be addressing why these figures are actually very important. But also, let's kind of address real quick the total, and let's go back to the previous bull run. Let's kind of go off of our current high point from back then to again the low point. So there's actually a lower point than the 2020 bull run or 2020 crash in terms of March before we went on that bull run. It's this point here, which was our bottoming point from December 2018. And we look at this and we look at the fib outreaches that we currently hit, which is slightly, around the 4236 and the 4618. By the way, this topping point is actually not on the exact point. There we go. So it's actually around, roughly $2.92 trillion to about almost 3.17 trillion, which figuratively, that actually is a perfect point for it to actually target. Now, if we're kind of going off of that same structure, okay, and we kind of lead the way to, the high points, this would actually take us to around like 12.41 to about 3 or $13.52 trillion in terms of the total market cap. Now, do I believe that we get to that point? No, because we are already kind of at a significant point in time in terms of a price increase on the total. So that's why I'm a little bit more conservative here, but I do foresee us hitting at least around like $5+ trillion in terms of the total market cap for crypto if we do go on that major bull run. But again, could we possibly see $7+ trillion? Yeah, we could. Now let's talk about HBAR. So in terms of HBAR, right, and this is also something I've always addressed. So we go off of the 0.2%. Which is nothing really if you think about it. This could ultimately lead to, possibly have 2% market dominance if it does kind of increase in value. But we'll go off of the 0.2%, right? Say for so it just kind of sits stable. It doesn't really gain much more, dominance than it is already at. So 0.2%. Okay, so we'll just say 0.2 off of roughly, we'll say $5 trillion, right? Now, of course, mind you, this is not going to be a significant price valuation for HBAR because it would just be $10 billion, which we have already seen before. The reason why I bring this up and the reason why I talk to you guys about this is that $10 billion in terms of market cap value for HBAR has already been something that we've seen. We already had well over 2+, or not 2+%, but we've already had well over that 0.2%. In fact, at some point in time, we had roughly about I think it was like 0.5% or something like that. A lot of altcoins, like even in terms of the top 10, right? Like XRP had at one point in time like 6+%. It's down about 4% from there. In my opinion, when we look at HBAR, we could see a higher percentage fractal in terms of dominance. They don't have an HBAR dominance ticker yet, or they actually do. I didn't think that they had one. So here we actually have, off of the 2021 highs, we hit about roughly 0.28%. Now, in my opinion, when we look at this, we're kind of actually printing a very similar chart on the HBAR dominance. It looks like we're going to have a breakout event here, actually. I'm not even joking. Like, when we look at this is actually pretty interesting. Because I never really looked at the HBAR dominance chart because before I tried to find it and I couldn't find it on here. But I guess it is something that has been on here for a while. Um, in terms of this, though, we could go much higher. And I always say this, like, even with anything else, like even ADA, right? I've shared with you guys a ADA dominance chart, where we had, at some point in time, this broke out back here when it really kind of led the market. But during this, price move, we hit about like 1.35, followed by roughly about like 3.25, and then of course we hit about like 4.48%. We'll say 2% of this market dominance would bring us to a significant point. So in terms of like 5% market dominance, which is it's such a small figure that we could easily achieve. This would bring it to about like $12.46. That is at a $5 trillion market cap for, of course, crypto at a 5% market dominance. But we'll say roughly we could kind of drop this down to maybe like just 1% of this market value would bring this to a significant point, which is a $50 billion market cap, or 12x. That is at 1%. Okay, 1% is currently the position that Avalanche holds at about roughly the top 10. Now, again, remember, we are in a Bitcoin-driven market. When alt season happens, Bitcoin dominance actually drops drastically. This is also when we do see the others' dominance, start to really move greatly. So as you guys do see, we are seeing the others' dominance really kind of rising, aka thanks to Ethereum. But when we really look back in time, Bitcoin dominance will start to drop drastically. Right now, I'm actually looking for a nice impulse up on Bitcoin dominance. But if we talk about like Bitcoin dominance leading to about like 15+% or possibly even 20%, that allows for 80% of this market to be within alts. Now, of course, Ethereum dominance at some point in time also hit some pretty high figures. I actually have those figures on the chart right now, sitting roughly about like 26 to even 30+%. This being at around the January 2018 highs. At some point in time, this did crash, while a lot of altcoins did go parabolic during this time, hit about like 9+%. Again, when we look at this, altcoins could drastically, have a massive percentage run. If we talk about, even, we'll say, ADA, right? Or even Solana, right? We'll go off of Solana because I think that Solana is one that a lot of people kind of compare HBAR to. Solana also holds a pretty significant percentage right now. We'll say like 2.5%, just to kind of be a little bit conservative. Our market cap would roughly be about like $125 billion, or an upside of about $6. Now, I've always said $3 to $6 on HBAR is achievable when we do start to break out, and this is why, right? When we look at the perspective of HBAR and we look at the current market cap and we look at where we could head to, right? We already hit $3 trillion, right? So in terms of the total, if we range to another, possibly add $2 trillion, possibly even $3 trillion to the price figure, say for so like $6 trillion, and we only had 2.5% of this market share, we'd hit a pretty significant high point. Now, again, this is 2.5%. Now, a lot of this, is speculation, if you will. I'm not going to say that this is guaranteed. I'm just saying on the macro perspective, this is something that we could easily see. And this is something that we could easily see this year if we do see that major alt season, which in my opinion, I think that we see it. I have been addressing Bitcoin closely on this. But this is just off of 2.5% market share to get to $6. Imagine a day where we're sitting at about like a $10 trillion market cap and HBAR has like 5+% of that market share. Think about it like this, right? There's some altcoins that have significantly jumped out this year. I mean, ADA was one of them. All right, I kind of show you guys ADA a lot in comparison with like HBAR and things. Like this hit about like 4.5%. If we hit 4% of that $5 trillion market cap, I mean, this is when things get a little bit crazy, but you guys can see the upside potential here. And this is also why I've said like $10 is like a moon mission sort of aspect. So don't wait for $10 to be achievable because, again, this is something that is, it's a $200 billion market cap. I'm not saying that it can't happen. Again, XRP, do I have to mind you guys about XRP? So let me go to XRP at $3.84. This had, oh, sorry, my bad. Wow, I can't type. Jeez, guys, come on. So this actually almost had a $200 billion market cap during 2017, 2018. So, if we're talking about $200 billion market cap, is it achievable? Yeah, it is. But, it takes a lot of FOMO and things like that. Right now, HBAR doesn't have a major spotlight on it. HBAR is actually one that's a little bit thrown to the side. So, before we do see, any of these prices being met, we need to see some significant price action first before we do get any, excited about any price action like this. But I'm just trying to give you guys, the bare minimum here on, what percentage we just need in terms of market share value and at what price the market cap would have to be for crypto in order for us to hit some high figure targets. I mean, even at the bare minimum, right, on the next major fib outreach at 4.81 trillion, that's around $5 trillion. We'll just say 4.8, right? Still at, even 4% or maybe even 2%, we're still at a significant point. I mean, look at this. This is still $4.79 at just 2% of a $4.8 trillion market, which, again, is just the next fib outreach here, which is nothing. Even going off of the current, level that we're at, right? So I know that a lot of people kind of look at the chart's a little bit different. So, here you guys kind of have it, like even $4 trillion. Again, the next one's like about 5.5. So we'll just go off of roughly, $4 trillion. Say for so that's our, topping point. Still an $80 billion market cap at just 2% would take us to about almost $4, which is why I've always said $3 to $6. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did like the macro perspective, let me know what you guys think about this. If it is, something that you guys like to see, if it's something that you learn more about, crypto in general and things like that. Comment down below if you guys like this sort of thing. I could do it a lot more. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely hit that like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join me for Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.